But there it is. Now we got it. Now it's being recorded. So we record these and then we do the live stream, and then you got to get everything to connect. But anyway, it didn't want to connect. It didn't want to work.
It's not more people, Robert. They already.
I know.
Only the
But
absolute
that
fan
said,
are back. So let's keep what we have.
I got people pinging me on Slack. Javid was right. You were live. I'm like, yeah. All right. So Javid, today
Hello.
we are going to talk about your new DevX stuff that you and the team have been working on.
Oh,
Lots
sure.
of great stuff coming out of that that push, that focus that you guys are working on for the developers and the experience that they have when they work with OneCosmos. Why don't you show us? Why don't you tell us? Why don't you give us some content in terms of what you guys got, what you guys went up to the last little while since we showed it last time.
Yeah. Let's do one thing. So I'm just gonna, share my desktop after making sure none of my tabs have any customer names.
That would be good. That would be good.
All right, so let's share. Let me know if you can see.
Yes.
So that's our product documentation. So we've not just been working on the developer footprint, so to speak, right? We've overhauled all our documentation. We've taken like they call it an ARID approach, persona-based approach, like acceptable repetition, I think is what they call it, the documentation science. And of course, it's truly persona-based. You come onto the Docs 1K website, you only go to what you're interested in, that kind of thing. So this has been obviously a big push to convert the underlying platform over to the one that we actually like. We use a very nice application-based framework for all of these things, so we can actually introduce some interactions on the Docs site itself. It's pretty cool. But obviously, this is not the focus for today's discussion. So today, well, I think we tried this last time, and I was 10 minutes into the description where we realized, we're just presenting to each other. That's fine. So it's been so much going on with our developer work. Now we already did introduce this new release. How the focus for us has been low code authentication. It's a journey for us. Not everything is completely the way we want it, but in the vision, we definitely want this to be an identity-based authentication and proofing, ease of proofing trials almost, if you will, right? And we always begin with authentication with passwordless. That's our focus for sure. But we've added more and more factors, more and more paths to market for developers who are interested in expanding their authentication options for their end users, right? So again, I always say this, I'm going to repeat, not every developer is an authentication expert, and not every developer is a proofing expert. Some have abilities in both, and some are frankly new to either, right? So we want to make sure that we are not biased towards just the passwordless space, because then it would be unfair to the other group of developers who are interested in us, very excited about learning our proofing API. So we want to make sure that we always have, candidate releases. If you're putting something out for a universal web login, your QR code scope-based authentication that you've seen here. I'll just actually click on this while I'm here. So if someone's interested, obviously, in this, once I enter my tenant key, you'll be able to see me start a session, which I'll just do in a second. But we also want to make sure that along this, when we do that, we also have a proofing SDK that we developed and we made it available for trials as well, like driver's license ID verification. So what I'm going to do now is none of this actually is going to work if I don't log in and then use my tenant keys. So we have integration on both sides. I could just use my email address and then click on that to log in, right? Because I've already linked my account with a persona into my Block ID app. I could just log in with that. So let me just try that here quickly. All right. That should take me to my dashboard, at which point I should be able to copy. Doesn't matter really, because I'm going to show them here anyway. And I could start this session. You've already seen this. I'm not going to go through the whole demo. You could ask for specifics, You could ask for things like an encoded a live ID. If I have enrolled on my app, my selfie, then that object is stored in my wallet and is retrieved. Yes, it is retrieved, over that session authentication, which I could actually try here again. Only once I'm able to do this to redeem that access code, that kind of a model where you cannot scan the same QR code twice. But again, I'm not going to show you all my data, which is buried there, including my data over there. But we've already demonstrated this, but this is a nice little recap. Same idea applies here. We've shown you this before. Same thing, I could authenticate if I've used this username. I could potentially try again. And I don't think you'll see my browser prompt. I have not actually registered. So if I just said Javed, and if I set up a platform authenticator here, so Robert, I'm basically going through all of the,
Yeah.
I am not doing this properly. I'm going to say Touch ID here. I've already enrolled it, so I'm going to have to change. Maybe I could use it. Let's see. Maybe I could use it if I've already enrolled it. Good. So I did it. I didn't even remember I had enrolled it, but apparently I had. So that's good. So that key was obviously saved. So it's a signature verification, which is what FIDO is. So that works. Now, I'm not technically supposed to show this DL driver's license verification along with the selfie verification proofing trial live because of all of the data, right? We do scrub important PII, but you still end up showing enough. So for that, Robert gave me an out and he said, just show the change log, which we published, which I should have just directly bookmarked, but that's fine. If you go to the .com site, you go to the more under developers, you'll see change log. And this is the place where, Robert's kind of helping us with just splash screens and, highlights for 1 or 2 core capabilities that just went out last month, right? So for us, that happens to obviously include everything that you see here, but the latest being a new SDK for DL verification. So feel free to, perhaps we could share this link along with the post of the IBA, maybe Robert, right? So folks could just go in and just kind of familiarize with our thought process for how we use the sandbox to offer a proofing experience, a proofing trial, to developers to obviously certify their apps against GDPR and CCPA, for example, to be able to have expansion and coverage to so many countries for which the government documentation is supported by our APIs. And then the journey itself for specific to a developer, what they need to do. You have to put in something to get something back, that kind of thing. And of course, then you're also given an image with the JSON response, which obviously makes sense to a developer. After going through that journey where an SMS is actually sent to the phone, you click on the phone and opens up your browser that then captures the camera to take a picture to establish what your image is, and it's compared to the driver's license, which you also scan. So all of this is an app-free experience. The proofing demo here, if I were to literally start this, give my number here, that would actually send me a link, an SMS, right? And that SMS is what I would click on right here. I got it. And if I click on this, then it takes me to the new browser that I just said, and it has me scan front and back of my DL and then take my picture and then match. So anyway, that's the outcome of what you're seeing of that process is what you're seeing, right? Okay. So that's cool.
And what we're showing there is, all the data that we capture.
Totally.
When we scan that document, what are we capturing? And then is that getting, are we showing that verified against AMVA or anything like that? Not yet, right?
AMVA is it's obviously there's a cost, as you know, it's actually quite expensive, right? So what we've done today is we're looking to add entitlements, licenses that developers could purchase. So get into a commercial with us, in which case we will expose in addition to just the driver's license verification here, we would allow them to perform this driver's license verification against AMVA. We don't want to expose that on this free tier yet.
That's right.
But we have the capability, as we already know, and we've demonstrated so many times before in specific demos, right, in NDA.
Yep.
So that's DL Verify. I'm not sure we've discussed Magic Link ever. This was a new release, and basically, developers could come in I will have to offset because of my history with this page, my email address. So you can actually use your email to register your account with the OneCosmos platform. That's pretty awesome because this is an entirely frictionless experience, right? Why should we introduce any friction when we are not quite fully aware of what your use case is yet? Perhaps your use case does require AMBA verification, in which case, fine. We'll go through that commercial ceremony to establish and add that step to your proofing journey, right? But for now, really easy. You're able to create an account by just giving your email. And of course, I have to go to my email. Hopefully the email has arrived. You will see everything here. Yikes. I do not like sharing my inbox. No, but it's unavoidable. Right?
All the bad things you say about me are in there. Oh,
I know, and your email responses to all of my requests. I know. So anyway, so registration magic link redeemed. The same idea of access code redemption that I was talking about when I showed you the QR code scan, right? Same idea here. Any type of registration is really bound to the scope that you want. All of those things are obviously beneath the covers, right? You're registering for a developer sandbox tenant. So that information you don't actually see, but the platform sees all of that and it knows, okay, so this is very restricted, least privileged type of registration, fine, we'll grant this, no problem. Now, same thing over here. Now that I have already registered, I could literally, as long as I can remember what offset I used, was it 12?
11. Was it 12 or 11? It was 11.
We might have to go back and check. Let's just go back and check. 11, you were right.
Yeah, I was right. Yeah, see, I was paying attention. Doesn't
Yeah,
happen often.
it's surprising for a change. Good. So here, again, same idea. You're trying to which tenant or which entity on the OneCosmos, public asset space, which happens to be the sandbox here, generated this authentication link for you. That goes in, that factors into the platform to know, well, when he or she does click on the link that arrives, grant it, because it seems to be okay for the scope that they have requested. If I were coming in from a tax portal, then the attachment to the access code, which I'm trying to redeem by way of clicking here, would obviously be a higher privilege, and perhaps I already redeemed that code. So that's probably I'm clicking on the wrong.
You clicked on do that one. There you go, login.
Yes, thank you. I clicked on register without reading, of course, clearly. Yeah. So I had to click on login, right? So the point is that at this point, when I clicked on login, it's not just blind. Oh, just let him or her go. No, it's a little bit okay. You seem to be okay for quick access, frictionless access to this asset, which happens to just be Sandbox. So anyway, that's kind of a quick demonstration for registration and login using magic links. And that was kind of what I was hoping to cover from a Sandbox perspective. Now let's go right back here. So dashboard you've already seen. I think I've demonstrated this before. There's a ton of things on the roadmap, including awesome, flexible graphical journeys where developers could come in and stitch different API calls together to put up a use case, which they could then trial in the sandbox with those steps added. That would evaluate runtime context and maneuver an end user through the journey based on where they came from, what their IP address was, what the device fingerprint, all of that good stuff from a sandbox trialing perspective is on the roadmap, and lots of exciting things to come in the future, Robert.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, the big thing with all this stuff, obviously, listen, if you're not a developer and you're joining in, just kind of like, what are these guys talking about? What we're showing there are capabilities of the platform without installing the platform. So if you want to see how a magic link works, this is how a magic link works. You want to see what happens when you scan a driver's license? This is what happens when you scan a driver's license. So you don't have to download the product, you don't have to install anything, you don't have to try to set up a tenant. All that stuff is done for you. And you can come in as a developer and figure out, okay, well, how does this stuff work? So then I know that, will it work for me, or can I use that, or is that what I'm looking for? Whatever that might be, it's a spot where somebody can come in and just kind of play around with the technology without committing to the technology, without downloading it, installing it. It's already done for you.
And it's makes for a great sharing. Makes for a great sharing story as well. You like it, you share it.
Exactly.
No cost to that, right?
Yeah. That too. But yeah, listen, Javed, there's a ton of cool stuff there. I know we got some more stuff coming. We got, social security numbers coming. So there's going to be some
Yeah.
more stuff that we're going to show in the next couple of weeks, right?
Exactly. So let's hope it's just the next
Yeah, fingers
couple of weeks.
crossed.
So much
Yeah, yeah.
going on. My goodness. It's like pressed for time, but this
Yeah.
is a good squeeze to be in. So yes, absolutely. What's planned is SIM binding is planned, phone verification, SIM binding, SSN verification is planned. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah.
There's live ID, which is just presence of a detection of liveness.
Yeah.
Not coupled to a driver's license verification necessarily. So the standalone liveness function is planned. So lots of good stuff in the
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And the reason why I bring that up is because we didn't click on those 2 tabs. And so I was just like, well, why didn't they click
I
on those
didn't
2
want to
tabs?
say coming
Because
soon.
they're not there yet. They're coming.
I take enough
and,
from you to not have to click those live. Thank you very much.
Yeah, exactly. So for those of you watching, that developer experience is available from our website, onecosmos.com. There's a developer tab or link or button at the very top of the page. Click on that. You'll get into the sandbox area, which you'll also get access to the documentation from both a developer experience and a product documentation standpoint. So lots of stuff there to go in.
We
and play
also
around
link
with.
product documentation and developer SDK documentation directly from developer.onecosmos.com. You can just directly go as well. If you don't like Robert's site, you can go to my site.
That's right. That's true. Your site does look very good. I was gonna say it looks better than mine, but I would never give you that credit.
It's an IBA. It's gotten so serious. It's an IBA.
All right, listen, everybody, thank you for joining us again today. We actually went a little bit long, which is unusual. I got Javid to talk today. It doesn't happen often, so it's good. But I appreciate it. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again in the very near future.
Thanks for tuning in. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Wait for morning.
Paused.